And the conversation continues, and we're continuing the discussion with two reporters from the San Antonio Express News. We have Joshua Fechter, who is a City Hall reporter, along with Brian Chasnoff, an investigative reporter. Thank you for staying to continue this discussion. Let's go ahead and get a little bit further into this, Brian, with the whole scandal that's impacting the Rey Feo Scholarship Foundation.
Right.
Now, when it comes to Fiesta, people look forward to seeing Rey Feo, and kids, school children, look up to him and his court when he comes in. And now there is a bit of tarnish, possibly, that some see because of this land deal?
Well, clearly it's a good cause, because this is money that is supposed to go towards scholarships for needy children to go to college. Now, this land that was donated, the king who received the land as a donation received a $50,000 credit. So that was the amount of money that went towards scholarships. The land was worth about $100,000 at the time, and then but then it was the value of the land increased when HEB bought land 800 acres nearby. So the question is the full value of the land going to the cause that's a good cause? Now, it's important to note out that when the land was sold to Gabriel's grandson, that value went back into the organization. So it was sold for about $100,000. So that's how much the organization received for that land. However, when you bring in HEB and how much value increased in the land, potentially up to $1 million, according to the developer who had initially donated the land, then you see where the question arises: could the organization have used that land to get even more money for the scholarships? And should that land have been sold to Gabriel's grandson, the chairman of the board's grandson, which raises questions about nepotism
and at this point, that transaction is being reversed.
Yes, that was the request of the Consejo organization, the sister nonprofit, separate organization that helps raise money for the Scholarship Foundation. They said, we're not going to partner with you until you reverse that land transaction.
And is there a big worry that this could impact the donations that come in?
Yes, a definite big worry that they have a public relations issue, at hand. There was a lot of talk about that at this recent meeting of the Consejos. So they really want, and Johnny Gabriel Sr., he wrote an op-ed for the newspaper saying, everything's fine, nothing to see here. We're going to continue to do this, fulfill our mission. This is still a good cause. So yes, there is concern about that.
And we know you're going to continue doing reports on that. So yes, we appreciate you staying in tune with that. And Joshua, let's go ahead and talk about the mayor's desire to have SAWS take over the expense of protecting the main source of our drinking water here in the San Antonio area. And there was a new development coming in saying that possibly there should be other places to look for the money.
Yes, so just this morning, State Representative Lyle Larson wrote a letter to the mayor saying, don't look to the aquifer protection funds to fund public transit. Instead, take a look at Pre-K for SA. That's the city's early childhood education program. It's popular with San Antonio voters. They voted to basically tax themselves to provide this benefit. But Larson points out that during this past legislative session, the state lawmakers put forth about $700 million, so probably a little bit more than that, towards basically a similar program and requiring school districts to provide all-day pre-K. So he's saying there's this entire pot of money over here that is now duplicative, that you can instead do that rather than jeopardizing the state of aquifer protection.
And so that's a new development that just happened today. We'll have to see how that all plays out with SAWS considering the possibility of taking over the protection of the Edwards aquifer. They say they're not going to receive enough money. And so where does it stand? What has to happen for there to be resolution?
So right now the SAWS board is looking at whether they can take on the program. They got a presentation saying that they could basically finance it to the tune of about $52 million, but most of that is going to be in additional debt that the utility takes on. And they have other financial considerations to consider. They have the Vista Ridge project pipeline that's coming online. They are under basically notice from the EPA to they have to basically retreat their sewage situation. And they also were facing basically other financial limits in terms of the revenue sharing agreement they have with the city. The city asked them to kick in more revenue to the city's annual budget. So they have to deal with that as well.
Very complicated stories. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in today. We know that to continue following your reports, of course, in the San Antonio Express News, you can learn more at expressnews.com. Thank you so much, and appreciate you coming in today.